Jimmy Roberts joins me now. Jimmy, you in your role covering golf, me in my role covering golf, Jim Nance, Dan Hicks, Scott Van Pelt, a whole bunch of us, 30, 40 of us, had a front row seat for all of that in all different ways. And it was such a blast. It will be very fun to go back and relive that unmatched run of golf as Tiger won all four and put all four on his coffee table down there in Florida.
You know, Mike, I was thinking about it this morning, that U.S. Open at Pebble Beach where Tiger won in 2000, that remarkable U.S. Open, that was actually my first event with NBC Sports. And I was just looking back at some of the details. Think about this. Between the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach that year and the Open Championship at St. Andrews, in consecutive major championships, Tiger Woods won by a total of 23 strokes.
Yeah, it's incredible. It is amazing. That the Pebble, I'll never forget that Pebble Open because we had fog, that marine layer laid in, and it dipped into prime time because of that, especially on the Thursday and Friday coverage. And late in the evening on the East Coast, as the sun's going down, Tiger just gave everybody another birdie memory, and it was fun to see it and be a part of it. I actually just got an advanced copy of it sent to my computer today, so I can't wait to watch this show and to relive it because, Jimmy, the Grand Slam in golf, winning all four in the same year, and there was a lot of debate, well, is it really a Grand Slam? But coining it the Tiger Slam really, as is mentioned in the promo, gives it its own unique place. And I don't know about for you, but for me, it didn't at all take away the accomplishment. Whether it was in one calendar year or just the four in a row, to me, it's still the Slam. What about for you?
Yeah, without question. I mean, you just have to understand how rare it was for anybody, you know, through the course of, 60, 70, 80 years to have won all four in a career. Here he wins four consecutively and decisively. And I think back on not only those first two, but then the PGA Championship and Bob May at Valhalla. That was so different. That was, the whole thing was just... It was really, really remarkable. Such a great period in time. And if you never had a chance to see Tiger Woods play, I say this. This is what we're going to be saying, much like people said this about Michael Jordan. Watch it now because he's basically Halley's Comet, and it doesn't happen very often.
Well, that's the perfect dovetail, Jimmy, because I'm thinking we who have enjoyed The Last Dance, and we had Jason Hare, the director, on yesterday, we got the chance to get in this rhythm the last 5 weeks on Sundays of watching this greatness. And for a generation who is a little bit younger, they got to see what this older generation like us keep talking about. It's a similar thing here with Tiger. You've covered both along the way here. What parallels do you see in Jordan and Woods as they went through this ascent to the sports mountaintop?
I have to laugh, Mike, because I'm thinking the last couple of weeks, all I have been doing is arguing with my 16-year-old son who plays on his high school basketball team. He's taking the LeBron side. I'm taking the Jordan side. But I do think that the one thing that they both share, Tiger and Michael Jordan, is this kind of indomitable nature about the way they go about their business. There's a great, great quote in the documentary, the Tiger documentary. And by the way, shout out to Israel De Herrera and all the people at Golf Films at Golf Channel for such a remarkable job. It's really entertaining. But there's a great quote in there in which Butch Harmon says he didn't just want to win, he wanted to step on your throat. And I think that's the way it was with Michael Jordan, too. And it wasn't about malice, it was just about domination.
It's a great way to phrase it and to frame it as well. I'm glad you've seen it. I look forward to watching it here tonight. We watched golf last weekend with the TaylorMade Driving Relief with Rory McIlroy, now the current world number one, former number one Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, and 21-year-old Matthew Wolff. It was great to see live golf. Great to get back to that. Wolff, the least known of the four characters, and I think he probably learned a lot about the spotlight, and a lot of folks learned a lot about a guy who can drive at 368 with the other big boys. What about Matthew Wolff have you come across in this year plus since he's out of Oklahoma State?
Stay on the green.
Hey, well, it's funny. I was listening to your show yesterday, and Steve Sands said it perfectly. He hits it. When did you think you'd ever find a competition where Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy wouldn't be the longest hitters in any four-ball? That guy hits it forever. But I think one of the more amusing stories that I've heard about Matthew Wolff, he's 21 years old. He grew up in Southern California. And if we wanted to know about him, perhaps we should have gone and asked Wayne Gretzky about him. So Wayne has a son, I think his name is Tristan, who's about the same age. And I'm guessing that Tristan and Matthew Wolff must have either been classmates or friends. Anyway, one day Tristan invites Matthew Wolff when they're 13 years old to come up and play. And Tristan says to his dad, "Hey, Dad, this guy's going to play with us today. He's pretty good." And Wayne says, "Well, how good is pretty good?" He says, "No, he's really pretty good." So they go, and I'm guessing it was at Sherwood where Wayne lives or lived at the time. And they went and they played from the back tees. And at the age of 13, Matthew Wolff shot 30.
Good golly. Wow. That's pretty good. That's greatness in the presence of the great one. It's a pretty special way to feel comfortable in some pretty good company. Jimmy, speaking of good company, tonight you're going to host NBCSN's NBC Sports from the Vault, and we're going to go back to some great Wimbledon days, 2008, 2009, 2005. The gentlemen's finals will see Fed, Nadal, Roddick, and Fed, and Lindsay Davenport against Venus Williams. Over the years, there are certain places that we've been lucky to go to, especially you overseas, St. Andrews, the courses that host the Open. But one of the things that we are missing, one of the things that's not postponed but is canceled for this year, is Wimbledon. And it's just going to be really odd this summer to get to that fortnight and not have that tennis, the breakfast from Wimbledon that we've become so used to for really most of the last 40, 50 years on American TV.
You know, Mike, you've been there so many times, and it's more than a sporting event. It's kind of a culturally iconic thing in sports. And I remember the first time I went when I first came to work at NBC, and I couldn't wait to get there. And the comparison is often made. It's like the Masters. It's like Augusta National. And it is in many ways. I'm a little bleary-eyed this morning because last night I stayed up to watch the great McEnroe-Borg match from 1980 in that fourth set tiebreaker. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, it's just so remarkable to look back in time. And again, it was one of those things, we've just spent the last several weeks watching greatness and Michael Jordan and people who hadn't seen it. I'll tell you what, looking back at John McEnroe in his prime and Bjorn Borg in his prime, that was just so much fun. And that fourth set tiebreaker still goes down as one of the greatest of all time. And we got a bunch more tonight. That Federer-Nadal match, the greatest Wimbledon ever. So,
epic.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. And it's been a privilege, it was, to work there.
Yeah, Jimmy did an incredible essay, and we'll find it for you. We'll put it out. I'll put it out on my social channels. Sure, Jimmy will have it on his. Just about where we are right now in life, not just sports, a little tinge of sports, but a terrific essay about, Jimmy, I guess what we don't have and what we don't know if we're going to have again. But I watched it, and it gave me hope in those times when we all doubt. And I think a lot of us doubt right now. When will that normal, when will that familiar return? I think your words give us a little bit of that. Just an insight, a sentence or two about what you were thinking and why you put this essay together.
Well, first of all, Mike, thanks very much. That's nice of you to say. I mean, I put that essay together when I was just sitting around the house with not a lot to do. I mean, we have a little bit more to do now. But these first few weeks, when we were cooped up and kind of idle minds and there was a lot of fear and a lot of things that we don't know. But I ultimately was just kind of writing to myself and writing to my family. And, I really don't, there was no coherent kind of motivation to it other than, the things that we were all thinking. And the folks at MSNBC and Casey Hunt's show, Ben Mayer, were nice enough to put it together and put it on the air. And, it's a rare privilege to have a chance to do something like that.
Well, it captures and puts into words what a lot of us are thinking and feeling, and that's the brilliance of Jimmy over the years, and you'll all get to share that. It was on KCDC, Casey Hunt Show on Sunday nights on MSNBC, and we'll put it out on our social channels as well, our NBC Sports Digital. You can get a sense of something that'll make you, like Jimmy V used to say, laugh, cry, and think, and it'll also leave you hopeful at the back end. Jimmy, great catching up, buddy. We look forward to watching you tonight as well with the NBC Sports Vault and the great tennis from Wimbledon, and we'll be in touch soon, buddy.
Mike, be safe. Good to be with you.